You're watching the Southland Conference on ESPN. The snow's coming down in Abilene, Texas today. Inside the Teague Special Events Center, Texas A&M Corpus Christi taking on a red-hot Abilene Christian team, winners of 6 in a row. Welcome into the studio, everybody. Zach Carlisle, along with Owen Simpson, Kerry Johnston coming up later on as well. We got two teams here today that are not only matching up here, they played last Monday down in Corpus Christi.
And it's a great opportunity for both the players and the coaches. Look over some recent film, make some adjustments necessary, and you take on the team again. It should be an exciting matchup.
Take a look at the standings coming in. ACU at the top, tied for first with Sam Houston. Texas A&M Corpus Christi down there at the bottom. You're looking for the top 8 for the Southland Conference tournament. How about our impact players coming into today? A couple of good guards, Simeon Fryer and Reggie Miller.
And Simeon Fryer is going to have to be a key focus for Corpus on this road matchup. Trying to get that first conference win of the season, it's going to have to be heavily relying on Fryer. And then the other side, Reggie Miller coming off a solid performance, not just in passing that he's done all year, but shooting as well, 15 points against Houston Baptist.
ACU has just exploded here lately. They have played a ton of games in a short amount of time. 4th game of the week for the Wildcats. Texas A&M Corpus Christi has dealt with a ton of COVID and postponements and cancellations as well. But these two teams are meeting up once again for the second time this week. Colton Cole jumping in the middle against Nolan Bertain, and Abilene Christian controls the tip. Glad you're with us. Off we go from Abilene, Texas. ACU's starting 5 with Damian Daniels, Reggie Miller, Corian Mason back in the starting lineup for the second time, Joe Pleasant and Colton Cole, and it is Daniels who's offline on the 3. For Corpus Christi, Jordan Hairston, good to see him back in the lineup as well. Jalen White to Lazarus Key. Simeon Fryer went for 29 on Monday against ACU, and Nolan Bertain in the paint. And there's Daniels, who leads the Southland Conference in steals, trying to swipe it away from the Islanders. Corpus Christi, some bad luck this year with COVID and injuries and everything. They are been fighting like crazy to try to build up some wins. It hasn't been happening, and now they sit at 0-8 in the Southland with a lot of ground to try to make up.
And again, with Fryer, you mentioned having a great performance last Monday against this team, 29 points. They're going to have to, again, I think the point production is going to have to come from him in this matchup if they want to get back on the winning side of things.
Colton Cole, baby hook. No good at Bertain with a rebound. This Corpus Christi team coming in averaging about 64 points per game, down near the bottom of the Southland, and that pertains well going up for this Abilene Christian team, who bodes the #1 scoring defense in the Southland and 5th in the country. Reggie Miller with a rebound. Colton Cole, double figures, 8 straight games for the big guy. Trying to get Pleasant posted up. Daniels out of bounds and a turnover. Take a look at the series history. It was all Corpus early on back in the day when these two started going. But ACU has won 9 consecutive now against the Islanders. The last Corpus Christi win came back in the 2017-18 season. And boy, is Abilene Christian playing good basketball right now or what? This team is just unbelievably good right now here in February.
Yeah, and a lot of it has been about driving it inside, but also creating a little bit of separation outside as well. That's what they heavily rely on, is getting the ball inside into their bigs in the paint, and it creates a lot of opportunities outside too for these guards like Corian Mason and Reggie Miller.
Joe Pleasant denies that pass, looking into Jalen White. Scoreless in the game's first 2 minutes. Lob it out. There's Fryer. Tough fade away. Had a career game Monday against Abilene Christian down in Corpus Christi. Corian Mason, game's first basket. And they love having him back in this lineup.
And there it is again, just taking the ball inside. That's going to be their go-to throughout this game.
Long two. No good from Bertain. Makai Morris taking the second three-point attempt for the Wildcats. Here's a drive from Jalen White, cut off. And Joe Pleasant knocks it out of bounds. ACU in front early on, subs in for both sides, and head coach Willis Wilson in his 10th year with Texas A&M Corpus Christi. He has gotten this team to the tournament every year since 2011, although they're in a little bit of jeopardy of missing it here in 2021. White, tough take, and does not get the roll. Clay Gaiman into the game and hits a three.
And Gaiman has been playing really well outside the perimeter. He's had a couple cold streaks throughout the season, but recently really starting to hit his stride in February.
Abilene Christian's coming off of an incredibly dominant victory over Houston Baptist. And Clay Gaiman went 7 for 11 from the floor in that game. Wednesday, a three open, an opportunity for Bertain, that's no good. Another strong defensive start to a game for Abilene Christian. Arion Simmons in the paint. He got it with an and one.
And you want to talk about the control to move around. He was patient inside the paint. You only have a few seconds. He made the move. After the nice little pass inside, setting him up. Gaiman to Simmons. Takes a look around. Nice move to the corner and gets the contact. I mean, that is a beautiful shot there by the big man.
He is so impressive. Joe Golding calls him borderline one of the most athletic guys on the team, and he's 6'5" and 264 pounds. And that foul went on Jalen White, Corpus Christi. That was Perry Francois checking in number 10 for the Islanders. And Simmons hits a free throw, and it's an 8-0 start for ACU. Pretty much right on cue for how it's been going this year at home. That ball's loose. And Makai Morris nearly got a steal. And we've talked about it all year. There's no team more active on the floor than Abilene Christian.
Oh, without a doubt. That's something that Coach Golding has really credited his team to with their winning streak right now. He says they're just wearing down opponents, especially in the second half with all of this pressure. It's just tough. A lot of teams can resist it early, but he says that his team has just been very durable and aggressive as well in the second half.
Jordan Hairston, the sophomore out of Virginia, lost the handle, and then he fouls Arion Simmons. And Abilene Christian is off to another good start here at home, 8-0 in the game's first 4 minutes. Back in Abilene with two teams with a very unique connection out on the court here tonight. For more on that, we say hello to Carrie Johnston.
Thanks, Zach. Before their time in Corpus, 3 Islanders used to play for the Community College of Beaver County in Pennsylvania, which at the time was led by Coach Brian Spriggs. Now, Coach Spriggs is the special assistant to the head coach here at ACU. The 4 of them reunited during the 2 teams' previous matchups on Monday. Simeon Fryer, one of Spriggs' former players, scored a career-high 29 points in that game. It will be interesting to see how much playing in front of their old coach will impact those 3's performances. Guys, back to you.
Carrie, thank you very much. Yeah, it was a very unique situation, and there is a special assistant to the head coach, Brian Spriggs. His first year with the Wildcats, and yeah, coached some really good talent at Corpus Christi. Kyrie Coates Jr., as well as Rasheed Brown, who's been out most of the year for Corpus Christi, and then Simeon Fryer, who, as Carrie mentioned, just went off on Monday against Abilene Christian. And fun to see them on opposite sides. Kind of a unique situation, rooting against one another here tonight. Meanwhile, ACU off to an 8-0 start. 3 for their first 6 from the floor and a travel on Arion Simmons. But as most teams do when they play Abilene Christian, struggling offensively Corpus 0 for 6 from the field.
Yeah, now it's just waiting on that first shot to finally fall just to get something rolling for these Islanders. You get one shot to fall and more will follow. That's the difficult part, though, is finding that first shot on the road.
Bertain and White have each missed a couple of early shots, and down to the floor with the travel. ACU speeds your offense up more than anything. Big part of why they force so many turnovers. ACU, as we have mentioned throughout the course of the season, #1 in the country, 22 turnovers forced per game.
That's a big reason why scoring defense has been so low, just not having the opportunity to get as many shots off as your opponent. That's what Abilene Christian does a great job at in this season.
A good bat of the ball there by Jordan Hairston. Hairston did not play against Abilene Christian on Monday. He's only played in 9 games this year, but he did start against SFA on Wednesday. What a week against Stephen F. Austin and Abilene Christian back-to-back. Orion Mason, an early layup early, and he is denied inside that time. A spin and the bucket on the baseline to get Corpus Christi into the scoring column. Something they absolutely needed. Perry Francois.
And a great job, too, against a 7-footer Colton Cole.
And then there's Colton Cole with a rim rattler. And an and one as well. Oh, my.
And there's the response. You give up 2 points on the other end. Well, here's 2 more points back with the contact. Wow.
My goodness. Good luck against him. Tobias Cameron checking in for ACU. And now Cole, the 2 plus the 1. Wow. A little bit of pressure from ACU as well. Friars had struggles with touches. They get it into the paint. Francois had it taken away, and that was Simmons a little out of control, it looked like.
Well, you know, they say that he has great ball handling for his size. Maybe that was just a little too much dribbling on that fast break.
But this is the Cole dunk.
That's going to look at this one.
Wow.
That'll be on the highlight reel.
My goodness. Is that a facial? I think that's a facial right there. Wow. There's this defense that wreaks havoc. And Corpus Christi with just 5 to shoot now. And that's a bump foul on Simmons. That looked like a body check. Nolan Bertain, senior out of Oregon. UAB transfer, Corpus Christi. 2nd year with the program. I think Bertain was still a little slow to get up from that one.
Do you blame him?
No, not at all. That's a lot of mass coming at you. And that was the 2nd foul on Simmons, by the way. But White to the dish for the layup. And Gaiman for his 2nd 3.
And he has just been feeling it from beyond the arc. Again, these past few games, he has just seems so confident out there.
Tough take. That Euro. Tobias Cameron. New Zealand, no good on a 3. That's something we talked about, too, before we came on the air today. The 3-point shooting has been a lot better for ACU, and when this team is hitting and scoring from the outside, how do you beat this team? Here's Joe Golding, who's talked about that as well when this team is making some shots offensively, but also in his 10th year, as is Willis Wilson for Corpus Christi. And Joe Golding recently hitting that 150 win plateau, 3rd in ACU history with 151 victories.
And that record doesn't really speak significance to where he's brought this program transitioning from Division II to Division I. You have a lot of tough competition. There's a lot of growing pains that you have to suffer. and just now getting over that 500 point on the win column this season.
You're talking about last 4 years is where almost 80 of those wins have come from. That's how good this team has risen in the Division I ranks. And now Clay Gaiman to Corian Mason. And another triple for Abilene Christian, 3 for 6 to start the night.
Expanding that range. They had 13 of them last game. They're on that pace here.
And now good defense the other way from Gaiman and company. Mason again. They're burning
deep.
nets
Wow.
here in Abilene. Wow.
That had a little distance to it. My goodness.
20-4. What a start for the Wildcats. Bertain, 4-3. The first one from the outside for Corpus.
And a much needed response to getting out of hand early here in Abilene.
Bertain has not been as much of a scoring threat these last few games for Corpus Christi as well. Abilene Christian dominating on their home floor once again. Up 20-7. And they're shooting 54% from the field. Well, 20-7. Abilene Christian off to just another good start. This team is kind of on another level right now, and you wouldn't know that they're playing 4 games over the last 7 days.
It just seems like this team is built to go the distance, and those 3-pointers, as we see one right there, that's what's going to really be important for the Corpus in this matchup. They hit 1 3 on the last possession with Bertain. That's what they need to have to stay in this game on the road.
Reggie Miller was open for a moment, and he'll take it in, and it's a late whistle, but a foul. And Miller is going to go to the line, and part of it is that defense that ACU, well, really a big part of what this program does for the Wildcats is defense. These numbers are insane through the roof. Number one in turnovers, third in steals. You can see it. It's really, really impressive what this defense has been doing. Maybe their only, thing that's a part of this team that they're not very good at is free throws.
Yeah, that's been the one issue where they've been a little inconsistent. They were 50% in their last game. And again, that's something that is going to be important in those close games.
And so far today, a 21-7 lead. Where do the Islanders look? This is my question. I mean, how do you solve this riddle and protect the ball? That might be the guy to get it to is Fryer. He drives. 8 to shoot, fade away, no cigar for Jalen White.
And that's just great defense by the Wildcats, protecting the paint at all costs.
Now Gaiman posting up. See if they get it into the bigs. Gaiman rise and fire on a double clutch. Rebound tracked down by Fryer. 0 for 3 from the floor to start this ball game. Transition look. It is Joe Pleasant. Hoop, harm, and one.
And a good job on the fast break. Cameron creating a little bit of space there. And then nice job by Reggie Miller feeding inside. And that is just more and more of that we have seen time and time again from these Wildcats. Just feeding it inside the paint. And no resistance either.
No look pass from Miller. He's got a couple of assists already, and Joe Pleasant has his first bucket of the ball game. It's a guy who played really well last Monday against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Career high 22 points in that game. Corpus trying to set something up. Peyton Smith and company. Smith's got it open. Could not connect on the three, but then Gaiman swipes it away. Loose ball. Wow. Guess who came up with it? And now Pleasant missing from the outside.
Hey, if your big mans can make those three-pointers, it is all but lost. He decided to pull it there, though.
And he can shoot it from the outside. He's hit 7 of them this year. That was a little second chance look almost there in a way for Peyton Smith, who connects with a 3.
And just trying to keep it within recent and marginal numbers in this deficit. 13 points. That's a little bit better than what we were seeing down the road around 17 or 18.
Yeah, it was
trending. If they can keep it towards this number, they'll be all right.
Abilene Christian so efficient on this end of the floor. Gaiman got it. Oh my. Falling to the ground.
It's hard to stop that.
When they're going in, right? Kept that foot down too for the longest time. That's a nice take. At the rack for the Islanders. Coates. Kyrie Coates Jr. Junior from Philadelphia. And Mason, he's hit 2 already from distance. And a foul. I think it's on Corpus Christi.
Yeah, take a look at this shot one more time. Gaiman posting up, no room to go. Let's do the fade. As you mentioned, when it's working, it's going in all the time for the Wildcats.
No question. ACU up 13 at home.
Want to welcome all of you here and all of you watching online on this great day in Abilene Christian University history.
I want to invite you officially to join the Southland Conference on July 1, 2013. Thank you. Appreciate it.
As exciting as the overall prospect of going Division I was for all of the many reasons, the first thing you think about if you're a sports fan, you think basketball.
To make a jump like this to the highest level of collegiate athletics, there is a lot of excitement in this community.
Away from Mason, it'll count if it goes, it's good! It's good! Mason buries the three-pointer!
Anytime you're trying to build something, you got to get the players in place first, and you got to change the locker room and the culture. And I mean, we've got a bunch of high-character kids and play the way we're supposed to play. The wins will come.
As excited as we were for all sports, everybody was thinking, maybe one day, March Madness, could it be? Yes! They can feel it all over ACU Nation.
ACU off to a good start at home. They've been pretty good here at home this season. For more on that, send it down to Carrie Johnston.
So far this season, the Wildcats have been dominant in the Teague Center. The Wildcats are undefeated at home and average about a positive 26-point margin against Division I teams. With their history of dominating at home, it will be fun to watch how much the Wildcats' home court advantage will factor into their performance tonight. Guys, back to you.
Carrie, thank you very much. And yeah, you saw it. I mean, this team has been not borderline unstoppable, completely unstoppable at home. And it's not their normal home court. It's really been impressive what this team has done this year.
And that's why I'm really excited to see how ACU and Sam Houston State fare when it comes to Abilene. That's the only loss for the Wildcats. They lose at Sam, one of their lowest scoring points totals of the season. Sam Houston, a phenomenal defense as well. I really am curious to see what we expect out of that matchup, not only for Southland Conference standings implications, but also just to see how much of an advantage the Wildcats do actually have here in Abilene.
Well, they had some blood to clean up on the floor. Corian Mason getting checked out. He's also battled some leg injuries this year and had a concussion that forced him to miss 3 games. But Joe Golding has talked about it, and he has said that this team is just that much better with him in the lineup. He is that leader out there on the floor for ACU.
And a great job already. 3 of 5 shooting, 8 points, has a rebound, but he's also done a good job with ball movement as well. I think that's an additional thing that you don't see show up in the stat category, is just the way he can lead this team and just set up the offense to its best advantage.
And Joe Golding said that a big part of it is if we're late in the shot clock, we just give the ball to number 20 and he can go create something for ACU. What can Corpus Christi create? Jordan Hairston running the point. Well, that's into the corner, and that's a steal for Arion Simmons, who's out there playing with a couple of fouls, but gets the takeaway. And now he lobs it in and a foul as they were trying to get it to Colton Cole.
And there it is again, feeding the big man inside. He's been a little more quiet recently after that nice little one-hand jam that we saw earlier in this game, but still feeding the big man inside. That's their go-to option, because once they get more confident inside the paint, that's when the three-point shooting becomes a factor as well.
That was the 7th foul on the Islanders. So 1-1 for Cole. Inside the Teague Center, and ACU has a 15-point lead. They'll be into bonus the rest of the half. That hedge from Cole knocked Hairston to the ground. Extra pass, Hairston short on the 3. The ball out of bounds, and Simmons goes into the seats on that socially distanced bench, outside.
And they love to see that energy, though. Despite the ball going out of bounds, the effort, that's what any coach loves to see.
Boy, ACU doing a good job on those screens. Top of the key, and then Cole denies. But just a tough shot going away from the hoop. And a shot clock violation on the Islanders.
It has been so difficult to buy a basket for the Islanders in this game. 12 points. We're 7 minutes left in the first half. Take a look one more time. That's great defense by Colton Cole, the loose ball, and then just not enough time to get a shot off.
Francois was going away from the hoop, and that shot missed the rim off the backboard. Trying to get it back to Cole. Simmons. Thought maybe he would go for an alley-oop of some sort, but I think they're going to give him 2 shots out of it.
And I think that's what Colton Cole was calling for. He was calling for the alley-oop pass, but a little bit of contact inside.
And you can't tell, but I think Joe Golding's having fun.
I mean, I'd be having fun if I'm up as much as I am, 27-12. I'd like that too.
So the foul wasn't on the Simmons pass to Cole. It was on Cole trying to go up there and catch it and try to score. So they're going to go shooting foul and a couple of free throws for the 7-foot center from San Angelo, Texas.
You see Cole holding that right arm there for a second. Not sure if that was what was being held down, and maybe got jerked around a little bit.
It's the second. Cole's got 6. Mason and Gaiman lead the Wildcats with 8 apiece. Big shot, can it fall? And not so much on that end for Corpus Christi, but now the ball's loose. And this is a mess and a foul. And it might be on Morris of Abilene Christian, and it is.
You know, for it being a 28-12 game, there have been a lot of bodies on the floor in the past few minutes.
It's been pretty physical on both sides. Willis Wilson knows you have to match that intensity of ACU to have a chance against the Wildcats. Hairston, back door. Not sure if Smith was going for the lob of some sort. Cole, no good. Jalen White going to try to take it himself, and he was stripped of the ball by Miller. Now Simmons will post up. Baby floater, no good, and a foul on Abilene Christian. A couple of times on offense, Simmons has had some interesting looks at the hoop.
Yeah, it's been either a great move or it's been turnovers or fouls or just all over the place. But he's definitely been involved in the first half, to say the least.
Makai Morris charged with his second foul. Perry Francois leaving the game for Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And for ACU, that is Logan McLaughlin who checks in. Scored 6, did McLaughlin against Houston Baptist on Wednesday, and had not scored in the 4 previous games before that. Now a take in, and a foul on Miller defending. Just active hands all over the place. And this will be a bonus free throw for the Islanders. This should be a 1-and-1 variety bonus foul. And out of bounds to ACU.
And I like to see the pressure from the Islanders here. 5 minutes to go. It's crunch time here in the first half.
A little bit of pressure, and now it's McLaughlin, and he is wide open. But Cole rebounds and scores. And they don't have an answer for Cole, who's got 8 points for Abilene Christian. Fryer in the corner. Had a huge night Monday, and he has been held in check in the first half. No points. On 0 for 4. Weird pass to Golden Cole. Now they'll get it back to him, and he will score with ease.
Nice turnaround hook shot there, and it's another big lead for the Wildcats. The Islanders need a response.
It's been a 4-minute scoring drought for Corpus Christi. And the largest lead of the game for ACU at 20. And that will go down as the 4th turnover in the last 4 minutes for the Islanders.
And that really tells you that's the story of the first half. It's the 10 turnovers for Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and then solid shooting from the Wildcats and being able to get it inside.
It's a 7-0 run for ACU. Gaiman on the reverse. It's all clicking for the Wildcats. White gonna just try to create something, and that was not even close. McLaughlin. That wasn't that close either. Hairston had to pick up his dribble. And an offensive foul takes us to a timeout. All ACU at home, their largest lead at 22. Back in Abilene, the weather outside has been a little frightful, but on the inside, pretty delightful for Abilene Christian, shooting 48% from the floor and up to a 22-point lead. Another impressive first half for ACU.
And that's just really been the story for playing at home for these Wildcats. There's been a few games that's been close in the first half, but they tend to blow out teams, as we see for a reason right there.
Joe Pleasant. Wow. The flush inside. The passing has been incredible as well for the Wildcats.
Everything is going according to plan for Abilene Christian.
Here's Eden Davis for Corpus Christi. Step back. Altered shot. Hard to figure it out against this defense. 2.5 to go in this first half. Mason nearly had his third three. Davis trying to run, rise and fire. No good. Boy, even the good looks aren't falling for Corpus Christi.
And they just can't buy a basket. 23% shooting. It has been a tough go on the road.
5 for 23. Gaiman fakes and was fouled. Got himself a jumper, and now he'll shoot almost from the same spot with a couple of free throws.
And Gaiman just a solid first half. 4 of 7 shooting, 2 for 4 from deep. He's been involved in the passing game too, a couple assists. I mean, he has been the all-around reserve player to come off the bench for the Wildcats.
Yeah, when you throw in his contributions on offense with this defense and the way they can shut you down, he's that spark on the offensive side. This team is so dangerous with those weapons that all of a sudden become 2 and 3 deep at each position. Because he can do a little bit of it all. He can post up as well, and then of course has that outside jumper, the junior ES out of Missouri.
He'll definitely be a player to watch out for next season, his senior year. I really do think so for these Wildcats.
Or potentially his COVID junior year, right?
Yeah, that's true. Not to mention, that's the thing about this year too. You know, we talk about Texas A&M Corpus Christi. They've been to the tournament so many consecutive years. There are so many factors playing into this year that change everything.
Long two. Something went in for Texas A&M Corpus Christi. They just needed it to go their way, and they do with DeLazarus Keys. $125 left in the first half. Reggie Miller at the line. Hasn't had a huge points half, but 4 rebounds, couple assists, couple of steals, just doing what he does.
And that's something too that Coach Golding for these Wildcats really talked about, is just the ability that one day it may be a certain player going off for 12, 13 points. The other, very next matchup, it could be someone else taking the charge. So being able to spread out the offense and its point production has really been something that he's enjoyed to see from this team.
It is a 15-2 run in 6 minutes for ACU. So I think it's safe to say that Abilene Christian will probably be winning at halftime.
I think Vegas likes that odd.
16-0 this year when leading at the break. And a foul on Joe Pleasant of Abilene Christian to put Keys at the line for a couple. DeLazarus Keys, the junior from Orlando, transferred from Western State College, first-year Islander. Had 8 points last Monday against ACU. One short of a career high. But he's only played in 8 total games. I mean, it's just, they've never had a game this year with everyone available at their disposal. I mean, there's just, the deck has just been stacked against Corpus Christi all season long.
And that's the problem too, being able to get in rhythm can so benefit a team. We've seen a lot of games for the Islanders this year that have been really close matches, but they just can't get the win. And I think that's another reason why. They just don't have everyone available and can't get comfortable with the team they have out on the court, because it could be a completely different team from the previous game.
Hung with SFA and then fell late, down to 12 points. They lost by 12 to ACU. Lost by just 5 to Incarnate Word, 9 to SFA, 5 to Sam Houston. These have not been blowouts by any means. They're right there. But now you're just getting to the later stages where you have to start making up some of these games and getting some wins, and it's just not going to be easy with the fact that they don't really have an off day the rest of the year.
Yeah, you talked about that, their upcoming schedule. What is it to finish out the year? It's 3 games a week?
Yeah, for the next however many. I mean, they will play every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Good luck. Kerry Richardson checks in for Corpus Christi, and Keys is back at the line. And Mondays are not typical days. You're not supposed to play on Monday.
Right.
Those have just been built in because of COVID and a chance to add games down the stretch if you have to. The reason that ACU and Corpus Christi played on Monday was because that game got pushed back from January. This was the originally scheduled game in Abilene between these two. These two teams were supposed to meet in women's basketball today. That didn't happen. So, final 20 seconds of the first half. That has been all Wildcats. Gaiman. And we have a foul on the rebound, and it's on Tobias Cameron. And this will put Corpus at the line with 15 seconds, just shy of here in the first half.
I thought they'd take a little bit more time off the clock before pulling that shot, but Clay Gaiman has been shooting well from deep. And then the over-the-back call there by Cameron. I think he might have disagreed with the call there.
And so free throws for the Islanders. McLaughlin checks back in. This is Nolan Bertain at the line. Senior from Portland, Oregon. Was at Casper Junior College and then went to UAB and now is in his second year with Corpus Christi. 10 seconds left. ACU up 21. Out of bounds off the leg of Clay Gaiman. 3 seconds for the Islanders. And a use it or lose it timeout for Corpus Christi. 1 out of their last 10 from the floor. ACU has not hit a field goal in 3 minutes and still leads by 21.
When you look at the team comparisons from just every number, every stat category, if Texas A&M happens to get a shot in these last couple seconds, you go into halftime down less than 20. I'm honestly surprised if you look at these numbers. I mean, just the shooting, 45% to 23 in favor of ACU. Three-point shooting has been about the same, but ACU has 2 more of those, and then just taking in the turnovers, 11 to 4. Corpus with 11 of those. Again, it's just been all ACU in the first half.
And we'll be here in studio to talk about it on the halftime report with stats and analysis coming up. Talk about some of our leading scorers as well at halftime. 3 seconds. They get the shot off. They did, and it rims out. That's pretty much how the half has gone for Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Abilene Christian dominant on their home floor. Halftime on ESPN Plus coming up. Abilene, Texas on a Saturday evening. ACU all over Texas A&M Corpus Christi, 40-19 at the intermission. The Wildcats and Islanders getting ready for the second half coming up in just a little bit. Welcome in the studio, everybody, and the halftime report. Zach Carlisle and Owen Simpson. I mean, ACU has been so good all season long, and they're just showing that right up here again today.
Yeah, there's really not much to say. I mean, it's just 2 completely different teams. It seems like Abilene Christian has just been so solid at home this season. We've seen that time and time again, and today is no exception, to say the least.
Yeah, 40-19, holding Corpus to 22% shooting. Let's take a look at these individual leaders. Clay Gaiman, nice spark off the bench for Abilene Christian. Colton Cole in double figures for the 9th straight game for ACU.
And Colton Cole is some factor that we haven't really talked about enough this season. A fifth-year senior coming in and dominating the way he has over these past few games, just peaking at the right time before conference tournament play starts.
And DeLazarus Keys, 5 points, just the 1 out of 4 shooting, the leading scorer for the Islanders today as well. But Colton Cole, you talked about it, this center out of San Angelo, he's done a little bit of everything right for ACU.
And we saw the big dunk there to start things off. He was a little quiet after that, but then he got more involved near the end of the first half. I mean, that is going to be a highlight reel for the big man after his collegiate career is over, because he has just been all over the boards. He's been all inside the paint. I think that's been the key to success for these Wildcats, is getting the ball inside, and they've done that to a lot of success this year.
Clay Gaiman as well, a little bit from the outside, a little bit from the inside, and he is shivering, but he's actually been red hot shooting for ACU.
And again, that's another big factor for these Wildcats, is having players come off the bench and score for them. He's leading the way for both teams in the point production, and he's done it in just 12 minutes of play.
Yeah, 4 for 9 from the floor, 2 for 6 from the three-point line. His contributions off the bench, they love having him come off the bench and provide an offensive spark, an resurgence for ACU. 2 in double figures for the Wildcats as we get ready for the second half. And Texas A&M Corpus Christi no doubt has a huge hill in front of them, trailing by 21 points. It's going to have to start early on in the second half. They're going to have to try to make a run at this thing, and that's easier said than done.
Oh, without a doubt. And this, the defense for this Wildcat team, especially inside the perimeter, has just been so tough for these Islanders to break. They've had to rely on a couple three-point shots to just stay consistent in the point production, where they often went many minutes without scoring.
How about this? Most wins in the country this year. Belmont 20, Drake of the Missouri Valley Conference, and number 1 Gonzaga with 19. Look who's in third, with number 2 Baylor, number 8 Houston, and number 22 Loyola Chicago. We talk about a great program at Abilene Christian. They're building something here, and it's really a one-of-a-kind program in Abilene, Texas.
And the Wildcats, too, have been so fortunate to not have to suffer like Texas A&M Corpus Christi with all of these COVID-19 cancellations, postponements. And we've seen that a lot for a few teams across the country, where they haven't even had the chance to play that many games, let alone win them.
You got an ACU team that's coming off of almost a 30-point win where they had a 40-point lead against Houston Baptist. They've had as large of a lead as 26 here in the first half of 21. I think we're going to see a lot of bench players. We're going to see a lot of guys to keep legs fresh. 4th game in 7 days. You wouldn't know it.
And Golding's going to have to, again, for many times throughout this season at home, he's going to have to figure out when is the right time to pull your starters, to rest them. You're going to have some time off after this game, but again, you don't want to risk the injuries for players that will be so crucial down the stretch for you come March.
And it's really interesting. Both teams struggled offensively late in that first half. ACU did not hit a field goal in the final 3 minutes, and AMCC went 1 of their last 11 from the floor. In particular, from the Islanders side of things, how do they even begin to get back into this thing? I mean, they're going to have to make some shots at some point, right?
Well, again, they have to find someone who can score for them. We knew who that was last time back on Monday when both of these teams faced off, but again, this time around it hasn't been the case. Everyone just hasn't been able to get in a comfortable rhythm just to create some sort of offensive flow.
Who would have thought that Jordan Hairston, Simi, and Fryer would combine for no points in the first half for the Islanders? But we'll see what happens, particularly early on here in the second stanza to figure this one out. ACU's going for win number 18. 9-1 is their best start since joining the Southland Conference, and it's their final year in the Southland Conference. Quite the farewell.
So going out with a bang, right?
There you go. 100%. And away we go with the second half. Corpus Christi starts with it. Mid-range jumper, Nolan Bertain, no good. Here comes ACU. Rebounding is actually an advantage Corpus, 22-18 in that first half. And the steal, and maybe a chance here for Jalen White, and he will shoot a couple of free throws. The foul on Abilene Christian after White got that steal. Just 2 points in that first half on 1 out of 6 from the floor. And he's at the line for a pair. First free throws of the game for White. Corpus Christi went 5 for 7 in the first half from the charity stripe. And coming in this year, the Islanders, middle of the pack of the Southland Conference, 68% on the season. And still couldn't get the first points of the second half. And the longest run Corpus Christi went on in that first half was just 5-0. They'll have to do more than that to have a chance in the second half. Colton Cole, no good. Joe Pleasant cleaning it up.
And there's the two bigs right there, creating an impact inside the paint. Cole can't finish. Well, Pleasant can do it.
And Hairston had it stolen. It's Daniels. Now a chance to run a 2-on-1. It is Pleasant going to the line.
And that's what ACU does such a great job at, is the fast break, creating the defense, turning it into offense. And just the way that they've been able to blow out some of these teams at home this year has been a lot about forcing turnovers. Another job right there.
And Daniels, that Southland leader in steals this year. Pleasant at the line. Maybe not on his way to a career-high 22 like he had on Monday against Texas A&M Corpus Christi, but definitely impacting the game with 7 points and 4 rebounds. (43-19). There's Daniels causing issues again. White ends up with it, and Cole shuts that down. This ball is loose.
And I want to take a look at this one more time with this block by Colton Cole. Takes it inside, good move, but the 7-footer denies him at the rim.
Over 60 career blocks, which is third most in ACU's Division I history, moving up to Division I in 2013. Daniels tried to rise and fire, had it batted free. And Reggie Miller sends that away from Jordan Hairston. Mason transition. Cole, oh, it popped out. Oh my goodness. Pop goes the weasel. And a foul at the other end. How did that not go in? Wow.
I'm going to take a look at that one more time. So you get another fast break. And this is on the Islanders' side.
That's Miller's block.
So you got the block there. You got the fast break going the other way. This shot doesn't fall from Mason, and then Colton Cole has the opportunity and just little too much.
Oh my goodness.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it does.
At least if I was 7 feet.
Well, right, yeah, that's never happened to me, but you know, it's because I may not be able to put the ball on the rim like that. Checking in Eden Davis. Bertain's at the line. Bertain at one point had 5 double-digit games in a 6-game span, but each of the last 6 he's been in single digits for Corpus Christi. Now Cole Couldn't get the dunk, but he gets that one to fall.
And we've seen that shot time and time again. Almost every game Abilene Christian's at home, he pulls off that nice hook shot.
Backdoor cut, but just really not much there for Bertain. Tough fade away. That's nice.
And those were the kind of shots that just weren't falling for Corpus in the first half.
Just that one-legged fade away by Keys that previous possession. A deny, a steal. In the open court. Oh, nice pass by Miller. Could not finish, but he will shoot two and a little smile as well.
I want to take a look at that Daniels pass one more time.
This was sweet, wasn't it?
Take a look behind the back and a nice move there. He was anticipating the attempted block and just couldn't get that and one opportunity.
Foul on Simeon Fryer. It's his third. So Miller to the line. 3 points in the game. All of them at the stripe. Where he is 3 for 5. So we talked about this briefly as well. You figure this ACU team, they're vying and trying to win the Southland Conference regular season championship. And you know that this is a game you're supposed to win here today. You have to take care of business because you really can't be stumbling too much down the stretch trying to win a regular season title. Sam Houston's also 9-1. Nichols has been battling as well. SFA, it's a jumble there, and they know they can't afford to lose any of these games, in particular the ones they are supposed to win.
Yeah, and we talked about that with the Nichols especially being a factor, not having to face Abilene Christian this year.
Right.
So that changes a little bit of how we really unfold this Southland Conference. You know, you have Sam Houston State's going to be right there, just like with ACU. So who's going to get that double bye? Just those two teams, the top two in the Southland Conference. So it's down to ACU, it's down to Nichols, it's down to Sam Houston, at least right now.
Yeah, that's why it's so important to finish in the top two, because you're automatically then at that point into the semifinal in the conference tournament. You get that double bye, and that's why finishing 1 or 2 is important. 1, obviously, you're a regular season champion, but you're not an automatic qualifier. So 1 or 2 is important to get that double bye, and then all of a sudden, you got a chance at that championship, and you don't have to play 3 games in 3 days or even 4 games in 4 days. So it gets crazy down the stretch, just the way that the Southland formats their tournament. Keys, baseline, smooth.
He's been the bright spot in just a rough game on the road. That's 9 points, 6 rebounds. He's putting up some solid numbers.
Gaiman backdoor, Mason with a rack attack.
He doesn't always go up for the jump, but when he does, it sure is exciting.
What a show this team is putting on. And now it's defense to offense. Gaiman, Simmons, they're making it look easy.
Just the selflessness of the passing game on the fast break, 3-1. Nobody's looking to score. You're finding the best opportunity. And that's tough for any opponent to face.
That's a charge. ACU is having all sorts of fun. Mason to the 10. So Reggie Miller takes a charge for ACU. Back on this previous possession. Took the charge, and what we're hearing is that they are checking for some sort of flagrant foul.
It's hard to tell exactly what they're looking for given the fact that we're not even there.
Right.
We're remote here in the studio, so it's hard to say exactly what they're looking for, but
and what we're
not
hearing
sure.
is getting word that there is a double technical foul being called. They're calling it on Makai Morris of Abilene Christian and Nolan Bertain of Texas A&M Corpus Christi. So a double technical to get us back into action. So instead of looking for a flagrant, they were looking at the technical is what they were doing there. We got a couple of different wordings from the folks in the arena that do a good job of helping us out when we can't quite see and hear what we are needing. But Abilene Christian on a current 6-0 run and leading by 27, and a turnover on Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I mean, it is just all Wildcats right now.
Yeah, again, the turnover is really becoming another factor here in the second half. That's now number 17 of the game. You still have 15 minutes to play.
Davis turning it over for the third time. Mason, extra pass. Daniels rims out a three. Were you thinking he was going to go? I was thinking
I wasn't sure.
I thought he was. Thought Gaiman may try to attack it again, and a foul on Arion Simmons. I believe it's on Arion Simmons of Abilene Christian. And it is his third personal foul. So each side with 4 fouls in just 6 minutes. DeLazarus Keys. The only Islander in double figures today. Clay Gaiman for a three to answer for ACU. You talked about it. It hasn't really been the three-point shooting for the Wildcats tonight, but they'll add one there from Gaiman.
Yeah, just 5 of 19 so far tonight, and that's something that it's improved over the season with these Wildcats, but it hasn't necessarily been their strength. The past few games it has, but it shows in tonight's matchup they don't really need to rely on the three-point shot anyway to come out on top.
And Gaiman's got 3 of those 5 for Abilene Christian. Jalen White. Oh, my. Oh, it dropped down. A little help from gravity.
It just sat there for a few seconds and decided to roll in. That's a nice shooter's touch there.
Gaiman through a couple of defenders. Good jump stop to draw the foul. This is a Gaiman 3. Little jab step.
And the corner 3 right there. And there was a lot of great ball movement as well as he shivers. Is that new for Gaiman?
I don't know. It's a weird celebration to me,
It
right?
is.
Because he's hot from the three-point line. Not cold. Is it ice in the veins?
But is that the veins, though? I don't know if that's...
yeah, it's his own. I don't, you know.
I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, well, that's true. You know there's someone watching right now that knows exactly why he's doing that, too. And they're making fun of us right now.
We'll have to find out. We try to know as much as we can.
Yeah, you know. We do our best. Gaiman with a couple of free throws. What a game he is having. He has matched his season high with 17. Five of 10 from the field. He's doing it in 16 minutes. One-on-one, Kerry Richardson denied.
And that's the help defense that makes it so difficult to score on this Abilene Christian defense. The block from behind, you can't really expect that. That's so difficult to anticipate, especially from a guard like Reggie Miller jumping up as high as he did.
All of a sudden, he's adding blocks to his arsenal. That's a three. That is Nolan Bertain. And a chance at a rare 4-point play.
Hey, sometimes when you're trailing, you have to find new ways to score, and that's not a bad one. 4-point play opportunity.
Got that one to go. Bertain joins Keys in double figures. Both lead the team with 11. Kyrie Coates out there, number 0, into the game for the Islanders. But any chance at a comeback starts with defensive stops, and Abilene Christian's had their way offensively, shooting 46%. Simmons, he'll launch. Gaiman, I think he might have been fouled by Corpus Christi on the rebound. It's on Coates. That's foul number 6 on Corpus Christi.
And these are going to be the games for the Islanders. You know, it's been a rough season. You're going to fall to 0-9 in conference play. A long road trip back. You start to question, okay, where can we best improve to finish out the season on a positive note? Because you got to, you know, you have a decent schedule looking ahead that we can take a look at later. But you know, you play Lamar a couple times, and just to get a couple wins is going to be so gratifying for this team that has had so many close games this year.
Yeah, the problem they're going to have, and they're going to have a chance standings-wise. I mean, another winless, but the bottom, like 9 in the Southland is not that far apart from each other. So they're going to have a chance to make the tournament. But they just need a couple of wins to go their way. The issue with that is they're playing so many games almost every other day at this point.
Exactly.
That will be probably more of a challenge than who they play, more than anything. We'll talk more about that on the other side. Texas A&M Corpus Christi in a bind. Their schedule will show it when we come back.
Want to welcome all of you here and all of you watching online on this great day in Abilene Christian University history.
I want to invite you officially to join the Southland Conference on July 1, 2013. Thank you. Appreciate it.
As exciting as the overall prospect of going Division I was for all of the many reasons, the first thing you think about if you're a sports fan, you think basketball.
To make a jump like this to the highest level of collegiate athletics, there is a lot of excitement in this community.
Away from Mason, it'll count if it goes, it's good! It's good! Mason buries the three-pointer!
Anytime you're trying to build something, you got to get the players in place first, and you got to change the locker room and the culture. And I mean, we've got a bunch of high character kids, and play the way we're supposed to play. The wins will come.
As excited as we were for all sports, everybody was thinking, maybe one day, March Madness, could it be?
Yes! They can feel it all over ACU Nation!
We'll talk more about Corpus Christi here in just a moment, but let's talk about this Abilene Christian defense. We say hello to Carrie Johnston.
ACU is the top defensive team in the nation, and that reputation has held true in this game. The Islanders' 19 points in the first half is the lowest ACU has held a team in a half since January 16. They also have generated 17 points off the 17 turnovers they have caused, and they also have 11 steals. If ACU continues the stifling defense throughout this game and through conference, they should make a strong case for earning the #1 seed in the conference tournament and making it to the big dance in March. Guys, back to you.
Carrie, thank you very much. Yeah, you know, you're talking about those the steals. ACU had 18 of them Wednesday night against Houston Baptist. That's the 14th most in any game across the country all season long. That's really unbelievable. think about it that way. Perry Francois at the line for the Islanders. So here is this conversation about Texas A&M Corpus Christi. We mentioned that the opponents on the schedule are winnable games, but they're playing so many games in such a short amount of time. 4 games coming up in a 9-day span.
And again, we also talked about the fact that this team hasn't had the chance to play together, all of them at once.
Right.
So maybe, if you talk about maybe that is improved, you get a little more consistency with who's out on the court, it could actually end up benefiting them.
Yeah, you know, and it is. They'll have a chance in the standings for sure. There's a foul. As well, Abilene Christian in front by 24. And I mean, right now, so you're talking out of current 8th place, or rather 9th place, probably 9th place, because that'll turn into the 8th spot. 2 games out is Corpus Christi. It's going to be there for them. Can they put together a couple of wins on the floor? I think you're right. It just takes 1 win for them to maybe build some confidence and maybe build a little bit of a winning streak.
And not to mention, too, that they haven't even yet faced Houston Baptist or Lamar. They played them twice in the remaining schedule.
And Lamar, 2-7 in the league. Houston Baptist, 2-6. There's opportunities for the Islanders. Their season will not end on February 13th in Abilene, Texas. So there's going to be an opportunity. There is a take. Put back, and just the ball's not falling right now for Corpus Christi. And now ACU on the move. It's Cole. The ball movement was perfection for ACU, and Cole hammers it home.
You mentioned the ball movement, the beautiful pass inside to Cole. It can't be any better than that.
My goodness. Been quite the amount of dunks today for ACU. And this ball's free. It's a possession arrow that will stay.
Well, I said he might have a clip of a highlight reel on his overall career at ACU. That might be another one. That might be 2 tonight.
It's all from this game.
A phenomenal performance from the big man.
He's got 14. He's got 14 points, 5 of 9 shooting. More points than minutes is a pretty good ratio. That's a foul on a 3. That is the second time that Bertain has been fouled out there at the 3-point line. He made the first one. Now he'll shoot it 3 times.
Yeah, just a little too aggressive there from the Wildcats. I don't know what it is with Bertain and shooting threes, but they seem to whack him when he takes them.
You know, Bertain's a guy, when he was at UAB a couple of years ago, he got hurt, played in just 6 games and then was injured. But comes to Texas A&M Corpus Christi, is able to play a season ago. They love what he brings to the table for head coach Wilson. He's got one more coming. Checking back in, Peyton Smith. Smith playing in his home city of Corpus Christi for his hometown Islanders. And Bertain, good free throw shooter.
Yeah, you love to see it. Perfect, 8 for 8.
That's right, 89% on the season. Halfway mark of the second half. Daniels ran into some traffic. That goes down as the 9th Abilene Christian turnover. Back door, they were trying to lob it to the hoop, and ACU covered it.
And good job by Reggie Miller, too, realizing he was about to head out of bounds and pass it back in.
Cole, baby hook. How do you guard this guy right now?
The pivot foot back, pivot foot forward, hook shot. We've seen it time and time again here tonight.
It's almost unfair of the fact that this team is 17-3 and still now starting to play their best basketball. It's really kind of crazy.
That's going to make it really interesting when conference tournament play comes around, just to see what will happen and how much more this team can improve. Take a look at that Colton Cole hook shot again. He has to practice that hundreds of times because we have seen it. It is all too familiar of a shot.
The catch, the turn, and the one-handed shot.
And especially for a 7-footer too. If you can perfect that shot, it is tough to guard you.
A little finesse at the position. Here's Francois at the line. Texas A&M Corpus Christi, boy, they really hung in with ACU the last time they played. The final score was 82-69 with the Wildcats in front on Monday. But Corpus hung in for the longest time and made each of their first 17 free throws in the game. That's how good they were Monday. And they're 17 of 21 at the line today.
And if not for the efficient free throw shooting, it could be a far worse score than we see right now.
It feels like more of a margin than just 25. Ten to shoot, Logan McLaughlin, the freshman from Carrollton, Texas. Into the paint, out of bounds. Abilene Christian with just 3 to shoot.
A game time situation. What are you going to draw up for your team? It's a good opportunity here for these Wildcats.
Daniels inbounds. And they don't have Cole in there to just lob something up to the rim. They'll do it anyway. It's Simmons. He almost got it. It's an offensive foul on the Islanders.
Yeah, the moving screen.
Disappointed Kyrie Coates.
Just yet another turnover, too, for these Islanders. It's just been a plethora of them today. Number 19.
Good word.
Plethora.
Good word.
I pulled that out of my dictionary today.
Well done, partner.
Word of the day.
Simmons back to work. Missed it inside last time, and the Islanders taken away from him again. Bertain, no, but the putback hammer. Or was it a foul first? That basket might not count. And Bertain may be headed to the line. That putback slam, I don't think counts.
There's a rare first for the Islanders, a fast break opportunity, and just got hammered at the rim.
But Corpus Christi has played well in the second half. It's a 25-21 second half in favor of Abilene Christian. Unfortunately for them, the first half counts. It was all ACU in that first half. Keys returns for Corpus Christi, and Morris back in for ACU. Much deserved break for Nolan Bertain.
He has been working, trying to keep it as close as it's been since the halftime break.
He's got a team high 16. Simmons, boy, he's actually had a few struggles on the offensive end. Morris, fancy pass. Game in, good finish.
And it was good rim protection, but it was just better offensive passing, finding Clay Gaiman.
Matching his career high with 21. And a timeout on the floor. ACU leads it by 25 points here at home on their way to their 18th win. Back in Abilene, the 2021 Southland Conference Tournament presented by Hercules Tires, taking place March 11th through the 14th. The Leonard E. Merrill Center in Katy, Texas. You can visit Ticketmaster.com for all those Ticketing information, southland.org for all the information regarding the upcoming tournament in Katy, Texas. Back to work in Abilene, where it's been all Wildcats this afternoon and evening, and now I guess we're into the Saturday night hours. Abilene Christian just, that fight, that energy, it just never goes away.
You would never know based on what just happened, the fact that it's a 25-point game.
It's crazy.
And just fighting for the ball, going the extra mile into the stands as well.
Daniels with a nice little hurdle job. Keys doubled. Try to double him too. He's got 11 points. Gets it back anyway and converts. He's got a baker's dozen tonight.
And muscles his way through inside the paint.
Impressive player for the Islanders. It's interesting. The Abilene Christian players, the Abilene Christian coaches, they were floored with how talented this Islander team really is. Cameron Steele for ACU is fouled, and it's like, don't look, I mean, just throw the record out the window with this team with how much talent the Islander program really has.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's just surprising to see where they are right now. But again, it's been a lot of close losses. The record does not signify who they are as a team.
Here's the upcoming schedule for ACU at Southeastern Louisiana next Saturday. So the team's got the week off, which will be big for them to get their legs back. And then Sam Houston comes to town. We'll have it for you here on ESPN Plus. 11 days time, February the 24th. I mean, that game usually gets circled every year. How huge is that coming up here in about 11 days?
And I really wouldn't be surprised, well, two things out of that matchup. One, I think it could easily decide who wins the regular season title. And I think it could be, two, a preview for what we see as a Southland Conference championship.
Yeah, that's absolutely an option coming down the stretch. I think that's where I'd put my bet down. I mean, you got two teams that have really pulled away a lot this year. Nichols has been in the conversation, but has also lost twice to Sam Houston and did not have to play Abilene Christian this year. 6:28 to go. Abilene Christian up 25. And yeah, so to me, Nichols is kind of in an interesting spot because the chance to finish 1, 2, or 3. I mean, they could figure it out. They're a game back in the standings so far, but without having to play SFA or ACU, how good are the Nichols Colonels? I guess we'll find out in Katy, right, when they potentially match up down there in the conference tournament.
And again, you have to wonder if because of these COVID changes, the fact that they cut down the schedule, and it seems to easily have benefited Nichols, the fact they don't have to play two of the top 3 teams in the conference.
Yeah, Nichols is 8-2. And, SFA 8-1, and then ACU and Sam Houston each 9-1 as well. This was announced a few weeks ago. There's 4 teams from the Southland: ACU, SFA, Lamar, and Sam Houston, all heading to the Western Athletic Conference that begins in July. This coming summer is when they'll officially join July 1st. And then they'll be a part of a new 13-team WAC Southwest Division. That Texas 4 going, along with Tarleton and UTRGV. And then the West Division with some California, some Washington State, some Utah, some New Mexico. Be an interesting new conference. So they're throwing out a couple of technicals. Here we got a technical foul on the Corpus Christi coaching staff. Willis Wilson, the head coach, called for a technical. Makai Morris hit the first free throw. I think he took 2. Yeah, he hit both. So a couple of foul shots for Morris. And now ACU ball, and you can tell a lot of frustration for the Islanders.
And without a doubt, and there's a good reason for that too, just the way, again, this season has gone. It's another road matchup, and obviously hasn't gone the way you want. So that's bound to happen, especially for a coach.
I could absolutely see how ACU's style of play could frustrate a team so much because you're wanting a foul to be called each and every time they get a steal from you or a turnover of some sort. And then when that doesn't happen, I bet that boils over at some point for these teams. McLaughlin goes around the hoop and out of bounds.
And he's been a little quiet too today. 0 for 3, all from beyond the arc. But he's had his moments this season, though, where he's been able to shine. I look back to that Texas Tech matchup where ACU almost upset the Red Raiders. He had a key role there coming off the bench.
Another takeaway. And then Morris gave it back, looking for steal. Keys gathers it at the other end. There's a lot going on right there. Gaiman to Daniels. You've said it, though. ACU's 5 for 22 from the three-point line, and they're still up 25 points.
Yeah, if you look just at that number without any other descriptions of how this game has gone, you wouldn't exactly think the Wildcats would be up as much as they are.
Acrobatic take. Free throws coming. Is that Kyrie Coates? Couldn't tell there at the end. I think it is. Coates. Foul on Cameron Steele of ACU. It is Coates at the line, a junior. So when Coates and Simeon Fryer and Rasheed Brown were at the Community College of Beaver County, they rose to a number 4 national ranking at the JUCO level for Brian Spriggs. And you can see why with those 3 talents on the floor. .24 game with under 5 to play. Steal. Nice little spin baseline. The ball's loose, and it will go to Abilene Christian.
And this is the point in time now you bring on the reserves. The starters get much deserved rest. It's a big win, and now the opportunity to rest for the entire team after playing, as we talked about, 4 games in 7 days. That is an impressive feat.
And to go 4-0 in
Especially
that stretch. McLaughlin trying to break his 3-point stretch of misses, and it continues. Well, there's still that defense. That never goes away, does it? Daniels and Hippler were in there. Paul Hippler, the senior from California.
Again, just fighting after the ball in the final minutes of this game. I don't think Paul Hippler agrees with the foul call.
There's a meme in there somewhere.
Of course. Can always make something out of that,
That's right? Coates back to the line. Again, a much closer second half, 33-28. Advantage of ACU. That incredibly dominant first half. The big difference today. Jamison Richardson with a rebound. Coming up on 4 minutes to go. McLaughlin lost it out of bounds.
The turnovers are racking up for both the teams now. ACU had done a pretty good job until the past few possessions.
Yeah, double-digit turnovers for the day. But on their way to an 18-3 record and 10-1 in the Southwood Conference, putting pressure on Sam Houston to beat Central Arkansas. That game happening down in Huntsville today here on ESPN+. Should be around halftime down there. It'll be a fun stretch and a fun finish to the Southland Conference. Keep your eye on ACU and Sam Houston. And then again, that huge matchup will come up on February the 24th. I'm already excited for that one. We get that doubleheader here in Abilene on ESPN+.
You know that's going to be one of the most important games on the schedule left for both of these teams. The chance to move into sole first place in conference play. And again, having the big confidence booster to win the regular season title.
That was a crazy one down there in Huntsville between those two. DeMarcus Lampley went bonkers from behind the arc. It was crazy to watch. Zach Nuttall, just a really talented group of Bearcats. Going up against this high-powered defense of ACU. That'll pit one of the great offenses up against one of the great defenses in all of college basketball. There's more of that defense and that hustle. Hippler open. Well short on the three. Next dead ball will bring us to our final TV timeout. And it is right here. And one. Kyrie Coates, he'll shoot a free throw when we come back. Abilene Christian, dominant today on their home floor. Final 3:36 on the way. Southland News and Notes, Keaston Willis is the Southland Conference Player of the Week after averaging over 20 points per game. ACU, what a start on their way to 10-1. How about this? ACU, Sam Houston, and SFA all undefeated at home this year. We mentioned that ACU and Sam Houston game on the 24th here in Abilene. So Abilene Christian on their way to an 11-0 home record and another comfortable home win. They haven't played a close one yet.
And you feel like that time, though, is counting down to finally having a close home matchup with that Sam Houston. You can't imagine, you wouldn't think. We saw that with Stephen F. Austin, the 20-point victory, but Sam Houston seems to be recently on another level.
Gervais Lampkins, junior out of Washington, D.C., missing that jumper. Yeah, I mean, from our perspective, we want a nail biter on the 24th when those two meet. We'll be on the air. We have a women's game coming up on Wednesday here on ESPN+. Should be a good one. Houston Baptist and Abilene Christian. A lob. Oh, man. Just want to see something good go down there for the Islanders, trying to get that oop off the inbound.
Yeah, we've seen a few missed dunks tonight.
Yeah, none crazier than that one from Colton Cole earlier in the evening. Richardson backdoor cut. Hippler feeds. Richardson fancy.
A nice pass from Hippler to Richardson. And the points are tallying up for the bench.
I don't know if you saw it, but that ACU bench went crazy when that happened. Rise and fire, a little floater. Lampkins no good. Ooh, nice cut to the rim and out of bounds to ACU with 2:15 to go. They call him J-Mo.
He shows off a little bit there with the reverse layup. Contested as well, and all that hair too as he runs back.
There's that bench going wild in the background too. So Abilene Christian, Richardson could not finish but a foul. And actually I think a goaltend. So I think that basket counts.
I'm not exactly sure why he grabbed the rim there. That's an easy 2 points.
Yeah, so not a foul, just the goaltend. So you figure Abilene Christian scores 76 a game. Right on cue for that. They give up under 60 a game. on cue for that. It's been pretty well scripted today for the Wildcats. So that goaltend gives the bucket for Richardson. Layup at the other end. Is that Coates? I think it was again. He's been very active in the second half. It was. He's got 9. Steele gonna launch. Oh, there he goes off window. Wow.
I mean, you got to do it somehow, right? There's no wrong way to make a shot.
Yeah, they all count the same. That's just the 6th 3 for Abilene Christian. Sometimes a little luck is involved.
Let's take a look at this one more time. Hippler up to the top of the key. Might as well bank it. That's just been the summary for the Wildcats game today.
I was going to make some cheesy line about banks being open. I don't know if they are today with the way the weather's been. There's a one-handed flush. Does it count? I think so.
Well, we're not sure if it's going to count, but
I don't know.
Either way, I think that might be an offensive foul.
Ledoux Lacou with the slam. His first points in the game with authority.
Yeah, they call it.
I've been wanting to say Ledoux Lacou all night. McLaughlin hits, and he finally connects on a 3. It took him a while, his 5th attempt.
It just rolls off the tongue so nice. Ledoux Lacou.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Half a minute left. .33 ticks. McLaughlin 3.
And he had struggled from beyond the arc. It's good to make a shot as you head into a week off and have some sort of momentum going in your favor after starting 0 for 4 today.
So Texas A&M Corpus Christi will be 3-15 on the season, 0-9 in the Southland Conference, and 0-8 on the road. They're going to go home for 4 in a row. Try to make up some ground. Try to make a push towards Katy, which is about a month away now. Can't believe it's already flying up ahead that quickly. And Abilene Christian with no shot clock. The Islanders will call off the Dogs. And ACU goes to 18-3, 10-1 in the Southland Conference. Their best start in the league in program history. Over from the get-go here tonight. And the final score is Abilene Christian 83 and Texas A&M Corpus Christi 55. This has been a presentation of the Southland Conference on ESPN. All games airing on the ESPN networks or streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. Until next time, Zach Carlisle, Owen Simpson, Kerry Johnston, the whole crew led by Hutton Harris saying so long, take care, good night from Abilene, Texas.